Alright guys, this is our first shot at a YouTube channel, and today we're going to be replacing the spark plugs and coil packs in a 1997 BMW M3. So here's what you're going to need first. You're going to need a 10mm socket. I use this attachment and this attachment for harder bolts. We got our spark plugs here. This is, here, let me get you the part number. These are them, the ones you need right here. Right here, that's the part number. And then we got our dinan ignition coils. That's the part number right there. So I kind of already started to take this out and apart. So basically this is a cover. It goes over these. So you take out these two bolts right here and you undo this. You can pop that off. So I've already gone ahead and done that. So now, we're gonna start taking out these coils. So basically there's two 10mm here and there's a ground wire, so make sure you take a picture or however you want to remember where that goes. And so what you want to do is you take a flathead screwdriver and you pry this connector up. You pop that out. Take this out right here. This is your old coil pack. You take that out. Set that wherever you want. We're gonna get our tool here. I'm gonna undo these 10mm. You're gonna undo this one. Now, take our flathead and we're going to gently see if I can get this connector to pop off. Wow, sliced my hand open there. So some of these connectors are going to be harder than others. You just have to be mindful of that. Set that on there. Change my glove because I ripped that open. Alrighty. So this bolt is a little bit harder to get to because I do have a strut bar here. So I'm going to take this tool. I'm going to use this one to get that off. Yeah. Pry that connector off first. Also be mindful, we don't want to get any dust or dirt into these little holes, so be mindful of that. So this last coil pack is kind of harder to get to, so you're gonna wanna get your socket wrench. So here I'm gonna pry that off, set that down. This one's loose, so we can remove this one by hand. Now comes the tricky part. Gotta get back here to this one, which also has a ground wire. So be careful of that. So we're gonna get that one loose. And undo the rest by hand. Alrighty. Now, pull out all our last pack. Second part, we're gonna need a, what is this one again? 5/8 socket wrench, or not socket wrench, for your spark plugs. You're gonna need an extension. Doesn't really matter how long. You put that on there. You want to do ratchet. Now, as you can see in here, you have your spark plugs. Socket. We're gonna put it on there. Make sure it's on there good. We're gonna get some leverage here. We're gonna slowly get that out of there. Alrighty. Pull that spark plug out. Check it out. Now, pull that spark plug out. We're gonna grab our new spark plug. This is your number and everything. Make sure you get this one specifically for these. So, take this new spark plug. Plug. We're gonna slide it back into this wrench. I'm gonna feed it in. You're gonna want to get it in there until it's about hand tight, and I usually give it 2 good turns. Alrighty, pull that one off, and then we're gonna repeat the process for the rest. You can see the spark plug does have a little bit of oil on it, which is usually not a good sign. So what you're gonna do is get your flashlight, check in there. Doesn't look bad, so we're gonna leave that alone for now. We're gonna put our new spark plug in. Spark plug in. Feed it into there. Once you've loosened it with your wrench, you can undo it by hand. Here. That'll plug out. Check it for oil. Looks good. Alright, so we've come to our last spark plug. This one hidden away. So go in there, and luckily my socket does have a pivot, so you don't want to get that in there. If you don't have a pivot, you should still be able to just get under there just a little tiny bit. So we're gonna get that one loose right there. Once you feel it's loose enough, I'm gonna pop this wrench off, set it aside. And we're going to slowly undo that with your hands. Once you feel it come loose, you're gonna slowly pull that out, and there you go. Your last spark plug is out. So take the spark plug, go aside, keep it, throw it away, whatever you want. Your new plug, pull it off, and you want to make sure that they have this washer. All new ones should, for when you want to put that on. So, put this one into our socket. And then we're going to take this, we're going to drop it in there, and we're going to hand tighten it until until you feel that get a little tight. Then what you're going to want to do, which I don't have yet, is you're going to want to take a torque wrench and torque those down to 22 Newton meters or 16.5 pound-feet of torque. You're going to take your new coil pack. These are dinan coils. There's your part number right here. Dinan. So once you put your new spark plugs in, torque them down to 16 pound-feet of torque, you're gonna take your new coil pack, you're gonna set it in there, and if you can recall, we got a ground wire right there. So we'll take our bolts, we're gonna get our, where is my wrench? Take our 10 mil, put that on, put this in here, and this one in there, and we're going to tighten that down. Make sure you line it up properly. Torque that. And you want to evenly apply pressure on both sides. And these don't gotta be that tight. You just wanna take it and tighten it. And then I'm gonna take your plug. Let's see if I can do this. You're gonna plug that back in, snap that down, you are good to go. Now, you're gonna do that for the rest. Again, we got our first two installed. So this one is kind of hard to reach, so I'm gonna hand tighten this right here. Then I'm gonna hand tighten this. We're gonna go in with our socket wrench. Make sure it's the right orientation. And gently gonna get that in there. We wanna make sure you do evenly on both sides so your pack isn't lopsided. Alrighty, now I'm gonna pop this up, and so you make sure you can see on this plug there's two kind of little pins right here. So you want to make sure that that pin slides underneath that part right there, so it'll slide in easily. Once your pin's in over here, you can see. You want to make sure that connector's snug. You close this on that pin, and it'll grab that pin right there.
Sweet.
So, put our next coil in, put it in there, it's a snug fit. We're gonna get our 2 bolts right here. Put that in there, make sure it lines up, and tighten it. We're gonna grab this one, put that in there, make sure that lines up. We're gonna get in there and tighten that until it doesn't tighten anymore. Tighten this one and tight. So take that and that. Tighten this down. This. Perfect. Now, get this. Slide that clip in, close it down, kaboom. Because my BMW, because this BMW, it is Pro charged right here. So it's higher performance. I would recommend going with higher performance coils, such as these Dinan ones that I got here. They're about $29 a coil. You can order them on ECS Tuning. So yes, I would recommend higher output coils for higher performance vehicles such as mine with the supercharger. But if you don't have any type of forced induction, you can go with some normal coils.
There you go.
Last coil here. This is the one that's hard to reach, so you're gonna wanna slowly get that one in there. And remember, we have a ground wire under here, so we're gonna put that on. Put that on. We're gonna take our bolts right here, and we're going to hand tighten, making sure that ground wire is the correct way. And tightening until it doesn't hand tighten anymore. Just hand tighten all the way. Take our right here. See, already tidy. After loosey. Now, tighten that up all the way. They're all pretty tight. They don't have to be super tight, but tight enough. Clip, put that in. Last but not least, I'm going to take a wet rag, just kind of clean off this cover that we pulled off here. It does have a little bit of stuck up grime, so we're going to black this. Get into that. Sure it's nice and some clean, look at that. Some right here. So we're going to take our freshly cleaned cover and you want to take off this cap first. Want to make sure you set that aside. Make sure you don't get any dust and debris in there. Slide this cover over. Get it to seat. Alrighty. Now I'm going to put our oil filler cap back on. We're going to take our two 10mm bolts. Get our screwdriver. We're going to screw that back in there. Doesn't have to be tight at all. We're going to go to that back one right here. Now, these are supposed to have caps over the top of them to cover it up and get all nice and clean. I don't have the caps for that. And there's also another piece that goes here. Let me grab that real quick. Ready? So, we have our cap nice and clean. This cap is going to go over our fuel rail. If I can get it in. Strut bar. Alright, so after you get that on, you want to tighten these two 10mm on top. Sure it's lined up nice with the hole. And take our other one. Put that in there. Line it up. Alrighty, and put our caps back on. Line them up, and that is how you change the spark plugs and coil pack in a 1997 M3. Film yet. Alrighty, we're gonna get a start on this BMW here after fresh coil pack and fresh sparks. Got all the lights here. Oh yeah, she starts. Alrighty, well that's it for today's episode. And subscribe, like the video, and follow for more videos like this.